Welcome to lesson 15. This is one of my favorite lessons because we talk all about things to do instead of snacking. I learned a lot of hobbies when I was growing up because we didn't have a TV. We lived a long way from town. So what are we going to do on those cold winter nights when there's 3 feet of snow outside? We're going to learn some hobbies. So I learned how to do all kinds of hobbies, and sewing was one of them. Sewing was the main hobby that I learned. Otherwise, it was cross stitching and crochet and knitting and crafts. My mom used to sew our clothes, and then I learned how to sew my own clothes in high school, and I earned money on that. My first job was sewing baby quilts at a consignment store at age 15, and from then on I just sewed all the time, all the way up until I was almost 40. And off and on, I was also a missionary for 15 years in there. And then I changed careers. I went to business college and worked in government for 12 years. And so I didn't sew a lot, and I haven't sewed a lot since then. I hem curtains, things like that, but not very much anymore. So it was a big part of my life, and I loved sewing, and I love to create things. I love to have the beginning and the middle and the end. I'd stay up till 1 in the morning at high school in order to sew an outfit that I'd wear the next day. So what does sewing have to do with weight loss? Well, all of the things that we've been talking about related to food and going low carb and learning how not to snack as much. When we are learning to not snack as much, we need to learn to do something else. A lot of times, snacking is doing something because we're bored. And so when you get up from your desk, maybe you work from home or you work at an office, and you get up and it's like, what am I going to do? If you also have a high carb diet, then your body is saying, I need more sugar. So combining those two things, I need more sugar and I need a break, then you go for the snack. So sewing is something that I would find to do instead of snacking. There are so many things that we could do, and I'm sure you have a lot of hobbies yourself, and maybe you've wanted to always learn a new skill and learn a new hobby. And so this is the perfect time while you're on this journey to reach your weight loss goal. This is a great time to do it. And if you take the stakes away in terms of you don't have high expectations, you're not trying to, create a whole new career at the same time as losing weight, it takes the pressure off and you just say, I want to learn something new, or just pick up something that you've done in the past or some of the favorite things that you have to do. So lesson 15, it's called Snack Attack, Keep Your Cravings at Bay. So one way to keep your cravings at bay is to distract yourself and to get busy with doing other things. So a way to keep your cravings at bay, here are 20 ideas of things to do instead of snacking. Number 1, chew gum. When I was wanting to lose the weight for the last time, I had a friend and he used to be a smoker, and he told me about what it was like to have to quit. And then I started researching it also and understanding, what do people have to go through in order to quit smoking? And one of the things is they can chew nicotine gum. And I thought, why can't I have that when I'm trying to give up sugar? Where's the sugar gum? Well, they actually have it. It's sugar-free gum. Yes, I know it's artificial sugar, but it is sugar-free gum. So chewing gum is a great alternative, I find, when I'm wanting to give up on snacking or high-carb snacks. Number 2, drinking zero-carb drinks. I'm going to be talking about this in a future lesson, but basically it's just drinks that don't have sugar in them. Number 3, drink some water. A lot of times when we actually think we're hungry, we're probably wanting some water. We're probably needing some hydration. So that's a very quick and easy one. And if you have a nice water bottle, then have it with you at all times if possible. Number 4, make yourself a pot of tea. That's something that can be calming as well. Number 5, text or call a friend. Remember, all of these things are just ways to interrupt a routine that we used to have, where we used to go for the food, and this is doing something instead of going for the food. So maybe quickly text your friend and say, I'm not eating my bag of chips and I'm texting you instead. Let's text for 5 minutes. Maybe you like to meditate or pray. This is a time that you could say, okay, I'm going to dedicate the snack time that I used to eat something, I'm going to dedicate that to meditation or to prayer. Writing in your journal. Maybe have a journal at your desk if you're at work, and when you're tempted to go to the snack table, maybe have a journal and write something. Maybe you are writing a draft for a book you want to write, or a short story, or an ideas for a vacation you want to go on. Just have that journal there and say, I'm not going to get up and go to the snack table. I'm going to take my journal, sit out in the sun, and write something. Go for a walk if you want to. You probably noticed that we're almost halfway through this course, and I have not talked about exercise for weight loss, and that is on purpose. If you're able to go for a walk instead of going for a snack, then go for it. Read a book. Maybe take your book out into the sun, or take your book into a room that has bright windows and just read for 10 minutes. And that will help distract you and say, I'm going to do something different instead of what I used to do, which was snack on food. Maybe try some yoga. Maybe you have some yoga poses that you can do at your break when you would normally be snacking. Number 11, draw or paint. I talked about painting in the previous lesson. Maybe you like to draw too. Take a sketchbook, take some pencils with you to work, or have a place at home where you can just go to that place and start drawing, and it will interrupt that cycle of what you used to do. Pilates, maybe you like to do that. Maybe you have a Pilates ball, an exercise ball, Pilates kinds of equipment around the house, and you can just do that for 10 minutes, something other than snacking. Number 13, listen to music. I grew up with a lot of music when I was young, a lot of classical music and religious music, and a lot of people in my family love music, and they will listen to music as a way of calming them. Take a nap. I didn't ever take naps until I was around 52, and I had a hysterectomy, went straight into menopause, and my sleep got very disrupted with hot flashes. So I'm now learning how to take naps. And sometimes when I feel like, oh, I want to have a snack, I can realize, oh, I'm actually tired, and I can just lay down for 10 minutes or something. Number 15, play with a pet. Maybe you have your cat, your dog, maybe you want to take your dog for a walk, and instead of getting a snack first, maybe just take the dog for a walk and don't have the snack. Number 16, take a shower. Maybe you can change the time that you have your showers. When you're tempted to snack, you can say, you know what, I'm going to change the time. This is a time that tempts me more to have snacks. I'm going to have my shower then. And it's just filling up that slot of time with that activity. Number 17, get a massage. Massages are always wonderful to have. Maybe you can take an extra break or an extra long lunch at work. If you're working from home, you can schedule that in and just get a massage. Maybe you have a partner or a friend who can give you a quick massage as well. Number 18, watch a movie. We have so many options now on our phones that we can watch anything. We can stream. Compared to in the past, it's amazing what we have access to. So that's a quick way to just say, okay, I'm going to just watch 10 minutes of this movie, and maybe it's a TV show and you can watch just one episode worth. Number 19, learn a new hobby. That's what I was mentioning before. You can learn a new hobby now. This is maybe a good opportunity to say, you know what, I don't actually think about food as much. I'm starting to not need to eat as much because I'm cutting back on my food. If I'm trying intermittent fasting, you'll actually have more time and you're not going to be in the kitchen as much. So you have more time possibly to learn a new hobby. And number 20, you can garden. If you have a garden, you can get some house plants if you want. I love house plants. I love to garden if I can. And that's a great hobby that you can have. So here are some of the props to represent some of the things I was talking about. Have your shower. If it's during the day, you'll want a shower cap so you don't wreck your hair. Maybe you actually love to clean. I got this when we were in Brazil. I do not like to clean very much, but some people actually see that as something they want to do in their free time or something they want to do when they have a little bit of time. I have to work at it for me, but maybe cleaning would be a great thing to do. Maybe just do 10 minutes of cleaning instead of having a snack. Gardening. I can't wait till the spring comes. We're in the middle of winter right now in Canada, and we're supposed to have a big snowstorm today, and so I just can't wait for the months to pass until they say, now you can plant, and there's not going to be any frost. So I'm prepared this year. I'm going to have flowers that I want to plant out, and I'm excited about that. Candle making. I grew up in a remote area fairly remote area. It was a one-room school, it was correspondence, and we didn't have exposure to a lot of things that regular schools do. But I remember one day they took maybe 10 of us. The school only had 20 people because it was a one-room school. They took maybe 10 of us and we went to a candle making little factory and we got to dip candles. And I'll never forget it. I was maybe 10, 11, and I had always wanted to try it. So at the age of 46, I finally tackled it and I figured out how to do it. And so these are candles that I dipped. I used recycled wax that I got at the secondhand store. These were the first ones we tried. It was super fun to do. I don't use candles all that often because we have 2 cats and I don't want the candles to get knocked over. So that was a new hobby that I learned how to do. Unfortunately, I got carpal tunnel when I had my government job, and it was a desk job, a computer job, but I figured out a workaround in that I taught myself to use my mouse with my left hand. It took about 2 weeks to slowly get used to it, and that was in 2013, and I've been able to use my mouse 100% now with my left hand. It's totally taken away my symptoms of carpal tunnel. But the other unfortunate thing is I've had to give up knitting and crocheting and those types of things that I was used to doing for years and years and years because those do affect my carpal tunnel. So I've had to find new hobbies to make up for the fact that I can't do those hobbies anymore. One other thing, I got so many tips and tricks I'd love to tell you. If you are a seamstress or you sew at all and you pay a certain amount of money for the small spools, if you sew a lot, these are a tiny bit more expensive. The quality I find very much similar. I have a serger, which is a fantastic machine. If you sew a lot, sergers are awesome. And so you buy the bigger spools for the serger. You just put it down below, put it directly down below, wrap it around whatever spool attachment you have, and then go from there. And you'll save a lot of money on thread. It does take up a little bit more room for the amount of spools of thread you have. That's just a quick tip if you sew a lot. So now it's your turn. Think of things to do instead of snacking. It's exciting and it's fun and it gets you in this mood and this thought that, hey, your life could be a little bit different and what you do with your time can be a little bit different than what you did before. Remember, when you want a different future, you have to change. Incremental, small changes is the way to go, and little tiny things that you can do instead of snacking is also the way to go. So we're on to bonus 14 now. Snack Attack, a guide to sweet alternatives. The snack alternatives checklist. Snack Attack, keep your cravings at bay. I give some of these examples on the description for this bonus, and then it's a blank sheet. You don't have to print this off if you don't want to, but it's just an idea. The color version and the grayscale, it's just an idea. It's one more piece of the puzzle. It's one more thing. And you can start and stop any of these. You have the long-term goal, but you can change the method of how you get there. I started and stopped so many of these over the time I was losing the weight. And that's what made it work because I wasn't stuck with one thing. And if the one thing didn't work, I threw all of it away. Start and stop it. Add it in. If something doesn't work, don't do it anymore. Add something else in, and then you can come back to it. See that there can be something different in your future because you're starting to change some things in your present. And when you change your daily habits, your future is going to change. Guaranteed, you're going to become a different person. You don't have to become a lot different, but a little bit different because you want a different body. You want to lose the weight. Continuing to realize that it's not one thing. It's not a simple one thing that's going to solve it. It's a lot of things. All of these 18 bonuses are meant to be started and stopped and brought back in, and I still bring them in even though I'm doing maintenance. And that's the other thing, is that it's going to be a long-term thing. This doesn't go away. Once we reach our goal weight, we still have to keep living in this world. We have to keep going to the same grocery stores. We have to keep living with the same people, having the same temptation foods around, going to the same job, having the same snack table around. So we have to find ways to work within our environment. We can change our environment a little bit, but overall we can't change it a lot. And so these things we can bring in. It will change your thinking on it when you say, I'm going to do something different instead of snack. And that's the whole point of the snack alternatives. So we're going to be going into module 6 next, and we're going to be talking about body image. We're going to be talking about taking before and after pictures. All of those topics we're going to be covering, and you're going to probably need your phone. And we'll talk about that next lesson. Looking forward to seeing you there.